I think one of the main things we want to do today is talking about setting up your firm, lead generation, what vendors to use, how to not get screwed. I'm going to share this later, but in December last year, I gave this lead gen agency over $1 million. I got 0 cases out of it. And so we'll talk about why that happened, how to avoid that, and then who are the right vendors to work with. I've been following Paul for a while. I'm sure most of us have. If you don't know Paul, here's a few photos of him. There's us two. You know, on cover of the magazine. See those eyes? This was your model days?
Yeah. God, I can't believe it.
Half my friends have a photo like this.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite one.
Did I do that to you?
Like an hour,
where'd you find
it
that?
took an hour to find this.
God, there's everything.
Yeah,
everything.
I thought it'd be easier to find this one.
No.
But besides all the nice photos, Paul's an amazing guy. Not only as a friend, as a partner, as someone you want to go to court with. Whenever I see him work with new attorneys, a lot of the other attorneys might refer cases too. They only take and cherry pick the best of the best, and they only want the top cream of the crop case. Paul actually will take a lot of the cases with you guys, show you guys how he does it, talk them through them with you. And I've seen a few guys refer him cases recently, and the experience has been amazing. And so even though Paul will roast you and probably make you feel a little bad, but Paul's an amazing, amazing guy. We wanted to host an event to bring that all together. And so Paul's going to be talking about, I'll tell him, he'll tell you what he's talking about, but I'll tell you what I'm going to talk about after. And then I'm also launching a new platform that I'll show you guys. It'll be very, very exciting. A lot of the people here I actually know most of them.
Happy to do.
Started.
And I want you to know about the roasting, because that's my way of showing affection. I know it's malformed. I come from a different era, but if I'm roasting you, as you know, it means I like you. Okay, so take it as a good sign.
You must love some people.
Well, it's a very like Long Island 1970s way of showing affection. But I think you're terrific. I would normally not really. I'm like a one-on-one kind of a person, but you impressed me so much that I'm willing to do this with you and sign on and co-sign what your program is, and that's super rare. Like, I'll talk to anybody, but to co-sign with someone in Nathan's position means that I have such a degree of confidence, and I'm so impressed with what he does. Now, I know it seems hard to believe, but at one time I was sitting in that audience, and I was your age, right? And I was starting out, and I was lost. I didn't know what to do. And 31 years ago today, my dad died. And I don't say that for condolences. I say that because, you know, it's a milestone and a marker in my life that I didn't have anything. You know, I was a lawyer, and I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't have any interest in being a lawyer on the day that he went. And in fact, after he went, I was so lost, I just put a key in the car and drove down to Costa Rica, which, you know, you could do then maybe a little more safely than today. And it was my intention, you know, when after like this, you know, year or so of just drinking and getting high, that I was going to do something else with my life. And circumstances came upon me that I had done defense work. I litigated a lot. And so I knew a lot of plaintiffs' lawyers from doing defense. When I got back to LA, I had no money. I didn't have a penny. And
What
so
year was this?
This was in like 95. And so I started calling up plaintiffs' lawyers and asking them, do you need someone to make a court appearance? Do you need somebody to sit in on a deposition? I was doing hourly work. That was as big as my ambitions were at that point. I didn't have any of the ambitions that you guys have. I didn't have anyone give me $1 million check. When my dad died, I got an envelope. It had his Army discharge papers. It had an uncashed check for $25 from 1967. That was the extent of my inheritance. And so I just needed to make $1. And I put my skill set to work. And then somebody said to me, you know, I'll give you 25 cases to litigate. You're pretty sharp. I'll give you some files. So I thought, fuck, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. And, you know, knew this guy Carpenter from law school. And Carpenter wasn't that happy working for his stepdad. And I said, well, I can get these files. You want to do them together? And he said, okay. And that, we've never had a partnership agreement ever since then in 95. And imagine what Carpenter and Zuckerman is. But that tells you something about me. When I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it forever. And I don't need a written agreement. So that's the start. That's as basic and as dumb of a start to a great law firm as can be. So you guys are all way ahead.
Did you know you wanted a partner?
I just didn't want to be, I wanted someone to have lunch with. So, I mean, that was really the motivation was, and I knew that he'd kind of go along with, you know, I would take the lead and he'd back it up.
So you got lucky, or do you think getting a partner is that easy?
I got lucky that we fit, and he's very like-minded. Like, again, we went through law school, and again, it was easier to commit because there was no money involved.
Yeah.
Nobody had anything. It wasn't like a marriage of unequals, right? It was two guys, and I always say we didn't have anything. We didn't even have potential back then, and I was more interested in getting loaded than I was, in really working at that point. And that's really, I'm just being brutally honest and vulnerable about myself, because I'm sure there's a lot of people in here like me that, there were times, Friday night started on Thursday night and ended on Tuesday, and it was messy, and I finally had to make a decision. Probably in 2000, I was either just going to be like that person, or I was gonna be a lawyer, and by that point I'd gotten married and I had a kid and another one on the way. So was I gonna just be a complete fuck up, or was I gonna commit to law? And at that point I'd been a lawyer for almost 9 years. I didn't really have anything to show for it. I really didn't have anything to show. You guys are so far ahead of me.
And so, today you have, what is it now? You guys have 40 attorneys, over 20,000 cases handled, $3 billion in settlements, 600 cars.
Yeah, 700 watches.
700 watches.
Don't forget
Yeah.
the watches.
The watches, don't forget the watches.
No.
And so that's all that happened when I made a decision. And at that point, I must have been 30, I was 30, maybe 35, when I said, holy fuck, I want to get going. I want to get going. So
Was it after you had kids or before?
I had one kid and one on the way. And I said, I don't really want to see I don't want my kids to see me the way I would see my dad. So I wanted to change that, but it was kind of I wasn't entirely convinced. It was by like a slight preponderance of the evidence that I went in that direction.
How much of it did your wife help get you in line?
No. She was a perfect codependent. She didn't get me in line. She was like, I picked her because I knew she was just going to be like, you need to learn to go to bed earlier.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I knew what people in this, we make decisions whether we're aware of them or not. But I wasn't going to listen to anybody.
Yeah.
I couldn't, if you told me I had to clean up my act, I would have gone harder the other way. I'm defiant.
Classic.
Yeah, we know people like that.
Yeah.
So this is a live session. If you guys have any questions like that for Paul, that was a great interview session for me. But if you guys have any questions, raise your hand and we'd love to just jump back and forth and go into it. Anytime for any question, Paul literally will share anything, even too much sometimes.
Way too much. But I figure there's somebody in this room here that is going through my experience that's going to want to talk to me.
Yes.
And that's what's important about it. So I'll overshare about it because there's somebody that's out there that you guys do stuff I don't know about. What is it now? What did you call me? It was.
I think we're past it. I don't think we have to bring it up right now.
No, we don't have to bring it up again.
No,
Okay.
We're just talking about the new lawyers are doing, and
Let's get to it because that's
Yeah.
what new lawyers do. So I'm serious. But then we can get to like the lawyer stuff.
yeah. So want to get to it?
Yeah, get to it.
We're talking about how new lawyers are doing all these weird things like Coco Chanel and
Pink cocaine, pink stuff.
cocaine and all these drugs.
Now we know who's doing it. Hey, what's your name? You are? Say it again.
That's my friend Josue.
Oh, it's Way. So you've done it? I've not even done it. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah, but that's that.
Okay, so you wanna start your own firm. Guess what happens? I bet you're afraid. Anybody afraid that they're gonna be successful or they're gonna fail? Come on. You think I was? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I was like, can I do this? Can I actually get it off the ground? Can I actually make something of myself? Can I actually be successful? Yeah. And you know what? Do you guys think I'm successful?
Yes.
You do? Every morning I wake up, I say I'm fucked. The first thing my mind says is, you're fat, stupid, ugly, and you're gonna be bankrupt. Does anybody have that voice of doubt that says something like that?
Yeah.
Do you really? How do you deal with it? You know how I deal with it?
Know.
Yeah. No, now you know what I do now? I say, hey, nice to see you. Nice hearing from you. Thank you for waking me up. I'm gonna get going and try to run faster than you.
Yeah.
And go make some money and be successful. I made friends with that voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At what age?
It's a process, but it probably
It's still evolving.
in my 30s, in my 30s. But the fear of failure is ever present, and I've learned that fear of failure is my greatest ally and my greatest asset, because it motivates me and it pushes me I don't let it paralyze me.
Yeah. I think it's resonates with a lot of people in this room.
Okay, how many people here would consider themselves to be problem solvers? Come on, let's see some hands. And when you solve a problem, is it because you like solving puzzles? Do you see the world as a puzzle around you? I do. I'm always wondering what all of you people are up to and why. I don't know if anybody can relate, but I always felt like you guys all had an instruction book I didn't have. Like, how did you guys know what to do? How did you guys know what classes to register for in college? How did you know that you take your kid to school on the first day? How do you know to bring a camera? How do you know all of these things?
I came to these events.
Is that really?
When they learn everything.
Is that what it is? Yeah. But I honestly, I look at you people and I'm always trying to figure it out. But that ended up again being the greatest asset I have, because I'm curious and I want to understand and I want to figure it out before any of you. If I drive in a car, I want to get there faster than you. If it's about getting money, it's about getting money faster than you. It's about getting more money faster than you. It's about knowing more stuff than you. That competitive edge.
And that's a perfect transition. Well, I'll pass it to Kaya. And I think one of the things to pass it on is you're the lawyer's lawyer. Whenever a lawyer needs to get a case, win the case, get 7-1 that they would get themselves, they call you.
Yeah.
And so, Kyle, I'll pass it to you to start with the questions. We have a list of questions that we're going to go through. This is just what I thought of. But again, you guys would be silly not to just raise your hand and ask Paul any questions. Definitely do so.
Yeah, I think so. Starting off, I think this is a question we all have been pondering on for a while. Where do you see the PI world going in the next few years, especially with Uber on the horizon?
It's going to be harder. The what I call a glitch. The glitch of you can put all your energy into case acquisition and then have a case manager or a virtual assistant work up the meds by a playbook to equal $1 million policy, and then you settle and get some hundreds of thousands of dollars in your pocket. That is a glitch that never should have existed. I can go on for 2 hours how it came to pass and why it came to be, but it doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. And so what is left is a version of what it always was, which is that if you're going to be a lawyer, you are not a business person first, you are a lawyer first, you are a fiduciary first, and it's incumbent upon you to be excellent and to get real money based upon not the fact that you just got, maybe you pushed a person towards a medical procedure, but what their injuries actually were and are. And so I give it as an example today. We settled a case for 500 grand where the meds were 35,000. And that's what you need to be able to do. That's if you then have heart and you're a student of what the law is and how to do a personal injury case, you can get the kind of results that we get every day. Everybody here can do what we do. It's just whether you're willing to do it, because none of your friends have done it, and no, it doesn't sound sexy. It doesn't make for good at Friday night saying, you know, I took 17 depositions, or, you know, I did all of this. I annihilated the defense expert, or I just worked 60 hours or 70 hours this week. That's what it takes.
What do you think happens after the law changes? It goes into effect, first of all, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, it goes into effect end of this year, and it's not retroactive. So whatever cases you sign up now to the end of the year are the normal PI and fees you can have for just Uber and Lyft cases.
Right.
After the year, Uber Lyft cases are impacted, the meds are impacted. What do you think defense is going to say whenever they say you're paying 50 cents on the dollar for Uber Lyft cases versus my cases that's not Uber Lyft or whatever it is?
Well, I think eventually it's going to be adopted widespread. If it works, it's going to become widespread, because we spent too much time litigating in the past 15 years about the value of medical services. It's become one of the bigger points. And this glitch I talk about, where people could get a big medical bill and get $1 million settlement, it never existed before. And we have to talk about the defense industry a little bit, and the defense side of things, and how hollowed out they are, and why litigation is such a fertile field for people. And so I think that the ability to manipulate medical treatment as an easy solution to the PI case is going to be gone. But there are so many other tricks in the bag, or so many other tools in the bag, or in my bag, it didn't never really matter to me. You know, I looked at my firm and I said, okay, if Uber passes, what's going to happen to me? There's a part of me that thought, I'm going to make more money. I'm going to make more money because of my advantages, because all the competition will go away. And so what cases remain are going to come to me, and the referral fees I'm going to pay are going to go down dramatically, because there's going to be such less competition. There's so few of Carpenter Zuckermans.
Great.
Does that make any sense to anybody?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can you just provide some specific examples of like strategy that you use or that you think is effective?
I will tell you, it's simple. There's a whole set of rules on how to litigate. It's the Code of Civil Procedure, and a lot of it's the Discovery Act, okay? But generally, the Code of Civil Procedure sets forth how to litigate. And most people don't want to read it. Most people, their goal was to become a lawyer. My goal at a certain point became to be the best lawyer. So I learned that Code of Civil Procedure and everything that sets forth the rules of the game. And no one can out-lawyer my firm, okay? We're not that brilliant, but we just know the rules better. So what are we talking about? When we file a lawsuit, do you know when the first time you can do discovery? Is it when the defendant answers the lawsuit?
10 days.
Okay. According to the defense, my firm's the only firm that actually does that on every frickin' case. And we immediately tell defense that when they answer, here's a copy of everything we submitted. Here's the rules of the road for dealing with my firm. I'll give you a copy of the letter. How to serve us, timing, subpoenas, depositions. This is how it's going to work. This is life when you're working with me. And they can't make money because they're paid a flat fee. So they're going to get annihilated. I'm going to outdo to them what they want to do to all of you. Those are the tricks. is applying the rules rigorously on every case so that when they know that they're gonna get a case from you, what's your name again? Huh? Ben. When they get a case from Ben, what's your last name?
Miles.
When they get a case from Ben Miles, they're gonna say what they say when they get a case from me. Oh, fuck. Okay, we better really reevaluate this case. We better reevaluate this case, and we better consider how much we're gonna pay and get away from these guys, because they're gonna chew us up and we're gonna lose money. Or they're gonna open the policy, really open the policy.
We have another question back there? Yeah, whoever's, go ahead. Go ahead.
My question was, when you're in a situation like that where you're obviously arguing for damages that are not best based on medical outcomes, right?
Yeah.
How much of that can you achieve in the settlement stage versus what requires trial?
Very few cases go to trial. And less cases go to trial against my firm than ever, which kind of bums me out. I'm not happy about it, because there was a period where we might have tried 30 cases in a year. And it's harder for me to go to trial and train people. Once you establish your bona fides, you're not going to go to trial as much. But as a general rule, does trial happen in 1 or 2% of cases? So it's going to, so if I don't get policy limits pre-lit, I'm going to, generally speaking, I'm going to file. Or if it's a big commercial case and I'm not getting some crazy number, and commercial cases are hard to settle pre-lit, I'm going to file. I have no problem filing on hundreds or thousands of cases a year. And it's hard. It takes a lot of dedication, and it takes mastering all of these things. But that's why let me ask you a question. What do you think, what do you think of a big firm like mine, gross settlements? You heard $3 billion over the course of the life of my firm. I think this year I might do $500 million in gross settlements. And that's not because I'm great and better than you. I don't say that to big time you. I've set up the whole thing as I'm a loser. And I just got competitive and hungry and dedicated. And I learned how to do this stuff and to do it tirelessly and ceaselessly. I don't know if I answered your question, but I want all the money.
I just want to understand how much leverage you have without the
Leverage. Okay, so leverage is becoming a student of what it is that creates leverage. I do not believe that leverage is my golden sounding voice on the phone with an adjuster or defense attorney. Leverage is the subtle approaches I take along the way of the case to establish momentum and get the case resolved. And that would be hours of discussion on how insurance companies work, how policy limits demands work, how the psychology of defense attorneys, and the opportunities that every time a new fact occurs, you write another policy limits demand letter. Okay, I just answered your client's third round of discovery, pay me policy limits. I just took the PMQ's deposition, pay me policy limits, right there. So every time there's a new piece of paper in the defense file, you can leverage that piece of paper. Okay, but you have to have gone the whole way a few times. Win, lose, or draw, you got to fight them all the way to the end so that they know that when you say something, it means something. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Sure.
Go ahead. We'll do one more question. You had it.
Just, I guess, to piggyback off of that.
If you want, I think now you got to stand up. Say your name.
Stand up and say your name.
Sorry, it's a new policy was put in place.
Wait, what's your name?
My name is Danny.
Danny, tell me one thing about you that everybody would be surprised to hear.
When I moved to the United States, immigration fucked up my name.
Really? What's your name supposed to be?
So my name is supposed to be spelled D-A-N-I-E-L, but it's actually spelled D-A-N-P-E-L.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
No.
Daniel. Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
Danny.
This is great. Okay. Okay, I like that. Go ahead now, Daniil.
Most people, I go by Danny usually, but I guess a two-part question. Piggybacking off.
Oh, two parts. Okay, compound. Let's go. Let's have a compound question.
So the case you talked about, you settled today, $35,000 in meds. You got $500,000 for it. Part one is, do you think you would have gotten that much value without the reputation you built? If you would have tried it in year 3 of your firm. And I guess the second part question is, how did you create value with only $35,000 in meds?
Okay.
Can I sit down, please?
Would you like to?
Whatever you like.
What do you think?
Should you come sit here for the remainder of the question?
You know, if you,
Can we
or
come
he
up
can
here?
sit on the step and face it, or he sits in the front seat.
Yeah, come
Go
to
to
the
that
front
front
seat.
seat. Come in the front
You
seat.
have to.
Daniel. Okay. This is awesome. Sit down. So, I was so
Perfect.
aggressive in my 3rd year. And so they have a new diagnosis called ODD. Have you heard of this?
No.
Oppositional defiance disorder. And that defines me. I was so, if I got into, so I remember once a judge saying to me, Mr. Zuckerman, you're the most contentious lawyer that's ever been in my courtroom. And I said, no, I'm not. And everybody cracked up. So I probably wouldn't have, but I always believed that it was kind of like that Darwinian poster where I had to, start small and then learn how to walk. And of course, the cases I got at the beginning was such junk. People gave me, my first case I ever settled was somebody bought fish from Costco, had worms in it. And I didn't know fish, okay. So that's how, all the shit you see in here is based on wormy fish, okay? And so I was rude, I was obnoxious, and I was aggressive. So would I have gotten it? It's so hard for me to judge after all of these decades. But I think that if you did my playbook, you would get close to it. You would get close.
What was the playbook?
This was a case where, this is great. So forget Uber, Airbnb. Airbnb is the greatest, okay? You have someone come stay at your house, or you stay at someone's house, and you think you made a nice house, but your house is all fucked up, okay? Your house is a piece of crap, and you're staying, have you ever stayed in Airbnb?
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It's like staying in a kennel for people. And so these people had a pool, and they got the Airbnb insurance, and Airbnb said that the pool at your house, you don't have the depths there. So they wrote down the depths, but they didn't know how deep it was. So they put down 6 feet, but it was 4 feet. So thank God the person who went into the pool didn't dive. They would have been a quadriplegic. She jumped in and she shattered her ankle, okay? So she had a surgery and she got better really quick. And so, but the playbook in the case was, the policy was $1 million. To just be insanely demanding $1 million and alleging that there was going to be, early onset arthritis that would require an ankle fusion one day. Yeah, nobody was saying that, but that's what we were saying. And in the meantime, we took the deposition of the homeowner and the property manager, and we made them to be foolish. And part of the argument was, hey, this is in such conscious disregard for the safety of other people that if you guys don't really want to settle with us, we might amend the complaint to allege punities, right? Because, God, you could end up with somebody that's a quadriplegic off of this thing. And so eventually, because they knew they had a losing case, they wanted to go to a mediation. And we never, before mediation, ever come under policy limits, because you lose all your leverage, right? And there's a mediation privilege. So we do things like we say, the policy limits demand is going to remain open until the day before the mediation. And once we go to mediation, we're going to be asking for excess, right? Because you can't use anything that happens in the mediation. It's privileged. So we want the expiration of the demand to happen right before the mediation. That's leverage, right? So when we go into mediation, we go in there and we say, what, $2 million? What are you doing, $2 million? You guys are crazy. This case is worth $200,000, and eventually we have a strategy of how we mediate before we ever come under, we release the policy limits demand just for the purpose of the mediation. So on paper, the policy's open, but in the mediation, they got one opportunity today to overpay and be done and not risk that we'll go further. So these are the leverages, and that's how we did it. And if you had a case like that and you did it with us, I'd walk you through all the steps we took. It took all the depositions we take. It's not that hard to get an idiot to say, so how did you put 6 feet on the pool? Well, I looked at it and I thought it was 6 feet. You think that's good enough? I mean, this is not rocket science. You put down 6 feet, but you didn't know? Why didn't you measure it? I didn't know how to. You didn't know how to get in a pool? You didn't even, how tall are you? You're 6 feet. Why didn't you get in the pool and see, you know? And so they don't, that's how really basic the questions are. You just make somebody sound completely stupid, which is what they were. Okay, so then you have a situation that's completely indefensible. And then you carry on, I want all the money. Follow?
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is a good transition to our next question.
You can ask me after.
What was a case that you almost passed on or took that became one of your biggest lessons as an attorney?
Am I going too long with my answers, Nathan?
No, well, that was all amazing. So
Okay.
these
So
ones,
I'm going to go quick.
yeah, we're gonna.
I'm going to turn this
and
one
then
on its
Q&A.
head. I took a case I shouldn't have taken. I took a medical malpractice case before I had the experience.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I took a medical malpractice case I had no business taking. I subbed out a firm that was very competent. You know what happened? You know what happened? Anybody want to guess?
Defense.
I fucked it all up, and I got sued for malpractice. Okay? I got sued for malpractice by a very good lawyer. And then, in the course of getting annihilated in a legal malpractice case in the 90s, I learned how I should have done that case. I learned what should have been required of me. And I learned that this was really, that if I was going to take cases for people that were really fucked up, I couldn't approach it casually, that I had to approach it with the utmost intent. And that case made me a great lawyer. And then there was one case that I wanted to pass on. The guy was a crackhead, and he was sleeping in an alley, and he got run over by a garbage truck, and they took his leg, and nobody else would take the case. And that was the case that got my reputation out there, because we went to trial and we got real money when everybody said you couldn't get money, and it took all the heart to dealing with this guy and this crackhead to succeed. And I set him up with an annuity. I got him, so I did all this shit for this guy. And that also, those two things made me who I am. Succeeding where I couldn't succeed for somebody that nobody wanted to ever touch. He had fleas, lice, he was filthy, he lived on the street, nobody was going to help this guy, and that's how I balanced messing up the other guy.
Any questions? No. Okay. What do you see? We're gonna go on.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
What do you see newer firms get wrong about building a case from day one?
Most of you guys will hire something called a case manager. That's a thing. The case manager only occurred with the industrialization of law firms. When firms, and you can probably read my mind, a firm on Wilshire Boulevard, or a firm with 3 initials, or some of the billboard lawyers. These guys came around and started getting 700 cases a month, and they started hiring these things called case managers. And I was like, what the fuck's a case manager? I mean, I was the case manager. I called the client. I learned about what their complaints were, their physical complaints. I made the appointment for the person. I called him the day before and said, make sure you get over there. I called him after. Tell me what the doctor said. And then when I got the medical reports, I read the medical reports. And then when I didn't understand something, in the 90s, we didn't have the internet. I invested $5,000 in medical encyclopedias. It was like my biggest expenditure. And I went and I would read all of the shit that was in the medical reports. And then I found out doctors love to talk. And I'd call them up and I'd say, well, what is this? And why is that? So the biggest mistake is delegation of the medical care. without understanding it. I'm not saying you got to do it every time, but if I may say, would anybody here ask for sex advice from a priest? Okay, and, you might, if so if you don't know yourself about all of the medicine, how can you supervise your case managers? How do you know what they're doing is right? No insult to Lydia, who I loved and who worked for me, right? I think she's fantastic. Lydia Santiago, who does the pre-lit and helps you with your cases. I think, man, does she know what she's doing? But you have to learn. So that's one of the biggest mistakes, is not knowing every aspect of the case, not having walked every path yourself. All of it you have to do yourself at least once.
Is it just the case or the entire firm? Some people will forget about the finance portion of it, they forget about the marketing portion of it, they forget about...
Well, that's where you come in.
Well, yeah,
but that's where you got to come in.
We'll come in there.
Because I'm the world's worst marketer.
Yeah.
I'm going to admit that.
It doesn't look that bad.
I succeeded in spite of myself. but that's an area of expertise that I would be willing to outsource to somebody that I could trust, because every other time I've trusted someone other than you, they just stole my money.
Yeah, but we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
But you know what? If you're a sucker, you deserve to, you're a sucker. I was a sucker.
One thing we're talking about actually with Aaron, because Adam Benji, going to law school, was like, what's one thing you see with good attorneys who are successful? And I actually pointed at Aaron, one thing I love and appreciate about Aaron, a lot of the attorneys here, Ben also restarted his firm and stuff like that, is their attention to detail to every single area of the firm.
Yeah.
If you're walking into the firm, if you're doing marketing for the firm, if you're doing anything for the firm, they're onboarding you, they're making sure it's good, they're making sure everything is good. And I think the medical is just as important, of course, the most important. But it's like, if you're an attorney, you're just starting out, you have your own firm, you gotta know everything that's going on, someone's gonna fuck you over. You're just not monitoring it.
And that's true. And so don't take what I say as absolute. So that's why I say you got to do it at least once, so that you know who you're going to delegate to. Because there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
And you can't be an expert. And everything's gotten so much more intensely complicated. The trust accounting, the case acquisition, all of these things, it would be beyond any one person to master every facet. And I will say one thing about that. I believe that another thing you should do is take your inventory. I take my inventory all the time, and particularly every year. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm bad at, and I don't try to do what I'm bad at. I don't fool myself about it, and I am bad at marketing. I am bad at this thing called, the internet. The fuck is this? Who would ever hire a lawyer off a billboard? I thought that was the craziest thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I also thought, who would ever hire Sweet James? Like, you got to use your name, a brand name for a firm? I mean, there's so many mistakes I've made, and I laugh at myself.
One question I actually have for you on this topic that I think you're actually very good at: hiring people. And you always say that, you didn't, whatever you say about yourself. And I also kind of feel the same way. It's just like the people that you hire, you build a firm, you give them the trust, you give them the respect. You have like law firm owners who treat their staff like shit. But like a lot of people are building their firms here, and they take for granted some staff that they have, and then that staff leave and go build another firm or things like that. And a lot of your staff I've talked to have been here for a very long time.
Way too long. 30 years? 31
It's
years?
amazing. I'm like, what the hell? How the hell does it happen? Most other firms I go to, it's just like they go from this side of Wilshire to the next side of Wilshire to the next side of Wilshire. And like, I think that's very valuable to hear a little bit about how you've kept the staff, how you've grown the staff. And
okay, you got to care about people. So for most staff, if you say good morning to them, thank you, you did a good job, recognition and appreciation is huge. Everything you do in life is marketing, and your stock price either going up or down. And if you go into a store and you're a dick, you're losing an opportunity to get a client. And for years, I'd go to the same store. I go to the same breakfast every day, and I'm always nice. I'm always generous. And people say to me, "What do you do?" I'm a lawyer. Ooh, that must be hard. No, I love it. You know how many cases I get just from those simple actions? But your employees, you know their birthday. You pay them pretty good. You're nice to them, and you care about them, and you create loyalty, and you make sure that you're in it together. But you have to go through various stages of learning who to trust and who not to, and who not to trust. But there will be people. But the people that I'm most successful with are people that I took without any experience in this field, and I taught them myself. If you go to hire somebody that's got experience, well, then you're going to get them with all of their warts, and you're only going to get them because you're going to pay them more money. So I think that's the difference. Is that my greatest employees? Somebody I met that was a waitress, or somebody was this, or somebody was that, and I saw something in them, and then I gave them the skill set, and it's brutal, but it works.
Amazing. So time for one more question, but really quick. Can you make it a little warmer in here, Elijah? It's cold up here. I don't know.
Are you
like it
cold?
freezing a
I
little bit.
loved it. Yeah, okay. Isaiah,
A little warmer.
make it a little, turn it off a little bit, because
like
this guy's,
2 degrees warmer.
yeah, he's cold.
A little.
Give him some whiskey.
No, we're not drinking.
Okay, turn it up and turn the slider down. That's
No light. It's gonna mess up the background, no?
Okay, turn that
Whatever,
off.
no, you're the camera guy, whatever you need.
It's just getting very dark.
Oh, so turn it on.
This one's already up.
Turn that, yeah, that one. That one's perfect. How's that? Yeah, that's shocking. Okay,
You have time for one more, and then
Sure.
we'll do some Q&As. We have a list of questions here. Were there any of them that you thought you wanted to talk about?
I don't
Or is there
remember.
any?
Just ask me one. Or you can get to your thing, because I'll tell about you
You talking about me?
if you want.
Let's do
you
it.
can-
Let's see if any. Do you guys have any other questions you want to ask or anything?
I mentioned I do a lot of employment, so it might be a little bit kind of, I think differs from saying it in some sense, because, a lot of times I don't have necessarily insurance. So I'm going after, just the pockets of employers, so it's,
Correct.
affects that. So one of my questions is, at some point you find that a case, isn't what you thought it was or not, and you're just kind of beating a dead horse. When do you take the time to say, okay, not that I'm gonna cut my losses or anything like that, but rather when it's time to settle that case for what it's what makes sense, and then move on to another case.
Okay, that's a great question.
Great question.
That's a really great question, because all the time cases are evolving. And I always say cases aren't like wine, they're like milk. The longer they go on, the smellier that they get. And most clients they're just people. And when I think of people, I think of the 7 deadly sins. And so clients, so always, generally speaking, a case gets worse and you need constant reappraisal. And sometimes we have to bring in somebody outside or a different person, and we need to bounce it off that person's head and say, hey, this situation. So we have internally, we do reviews all the time, and we're always checking with each other about a case and getting a reality check on it. And sometimes you really do have to say, you can get caught up with somebody and you realize your client has lied to you, been dishonest with you. Anybody get a client that didn't tell you the truth? Now, I learned once the hard way. I said to a client, you fucking lied to me. And then he was running around my office screaming that I called him outside his name and he was gonna beat me up. So I learned to say, I respect you. You were being entrepreneurial. And like every good entrepreneur, you sometimes you take a little risk, but entrepreneurs strike out 9 out of 10 times. You need to know when to pack it in. And so, yeah, you got to cut your losses and move on. And guess what? I've always said every victory and defeat lasts 29 minutes. Once I get over my ego that's attached to the decision, I can't remember after a half hour. So it really all is becoming ego. And when I say I take my own inventory, I I constantly look at cases. Here's a practice tip. I generally, particularly when I was new, I looked at a case every 2 to 4 weeks. And so I would look at a case, I would take a look back because I know something hasn't been done right. So I got to make sure that everything that was supposed to be done was done. Then I orient myself to the moment and say, what's the next logical move where we're at with the case? Then I take that action, I give that order, and I would take a weekly calendar, and I would write in the calendar in 2 weeks, I got to see the Sumekh case again. And so I have a system to review the files on a constant basis and make that evaluation at all times and never lose the thread. And if I have a file that I call a dog file, one that I hate looking at, or one that I quote unquote need to get I need to clear my desk before I can pay attention to this, I know that's a sick file. It's a dog. I gotta, instead of putting it off, I gotta look at that thing right away and take decisive action and probably put that thing out of its misery. Otherwise, malpractice.
Really quick last question before I do a quick outro for you.
Okay.
I don't know if you have an answer for this one, but I think it's going to become a problem pretty soon. With AI inside of law firms, I know you said you're anti-techie, whatever, but what are you seeing with AI in law firms, AI and PI, and just all these different things? Any advice you have to lawyers who are like, holy shit, this is like insane?
It's insane. Claude is insane. All of this stuff is insane. I can't believe how powerful it is. And it's going to wipe out a lot of people that don't have expertise. So it's all the more important to know the rules of the road and to really not rely upon AI for your brain, but to supplement what you know and what your skill set is. I'll say something else about AI is a work in progress, and I think everybody needs to be familiar with it. Everybody needs to know how to use it. Some of the depot summaries and what we're able to do with prompts and to look at a case, it's startling and it's frightening and it's wonderful. Where I'm going to caution you is that if you're plugging AI and it's not a closed system and you're putting attorney-client stuff in there or medical stuff, HIPAA stuff, and you're feeding it into AI that's not a closed system, that's not compliant, someday some fucker like me is going to come along on the mass tort side of things or the class action side of things, going to take you down because you didn't honor attorney-client privilege and HIPAA compliance. And just because everybody you know is doing it doesn't mean that it's safe. So don't turn off that side of your brain because those AI companies are worth so much money, they're going to become targets. Just like when you make a lot of money, you become targets. You know, it's a sign of success when your first employee sues you, and it breaks your heart. But you know, those AI companies are going to be. I'm coming after them one day.
I'll refer you the cases.
Thank you. You'll mark it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot my fence.
Yeah.
There was this
Good.
site that had a 7-to-1 on marketing.
What do you know about 7-to-1?
Okay, so I sat down with some of the biggest billboard lawyers and we went over numbers. And my case recoveries are $7 for every dollar they get. So all of that, so if you're going, when you market, okay, when you market, there's a notion that when you mass market and get a mass amount of cases, that okay or good is good enough. Every one of those cases is a lost opportunity in my eyes. If I was at those firms, they'd be getting 7 times the money. And so you cannot lose every one of these leads. It's ever more costly. When you're going to go, Nathan, and you're going to use his services to get you cases, you are absolutely screwed in the head if you do not maximize every opportunity you have to get money. And I've sat down with the big players and they go, well, we're making a lot of money. And I'm like, I can't.
You're making way more.
Yeah. And
For
so,
way less work.
Yeah.
Way less
So,
overhead.
and there's ways to do it. So when you get those cases, you got to get the money. Get it all. 7X. It took one guy 7,000 cases to do what I do in 1,000. Get the money. You like that? Fuck you, pay me.
Oh, fuck you, pay me. That was the quote. I
That's
forgot
it.
what it was.
Fuck you, pay me.
Really, fuck you, pay me. I'll have Claude fix that.
Yeah.
Okay, really quick. Paul doesn't know this, but you actually gave me a black card.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Quick plug. These are the new CZ1 cards. If you're going to Cala or any of the other events, Carpenter and Zuckerman and other people are having private events and things like that for attorneys. And so if you get the CZ1 cards, they're going to text you guys, members only. You can bring friends with it. After this
Gotta
event,
be lawyers.
they gotta be lawyers.
Gotta be a lawyer.
Seriously, that's it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
lawyers.
you, but
I have a
I'd be
law firm
making
in
it.
Arizona, so this counts.
Okay.
We're good?
Maybe. Maybe. You got to change that picture, though. I can't have that looking at the audience. Oh, okay, not that either. Go back to the old one where I'm young, and yeah, that one. That was a great pick.
They love this.
So, okay. You done, or you want me to introduce you now?
You can introduce me. I'd love to hear this. Someone record this, please.
Oh, well, no. I'm going to tell you again. You're here for a reason. I've told you everything.
Wait, but Paul, you know I don't generate cases.
What do you do?
I'll tell you right now. So over the last 7 years, we've been generating cases for ourselves and referring them out,
Right.
or just generating them ourselves and working with the firms we work with. But we've just learned about every single different lead gen and every single vendor humanly possible.
Uh-huh.
And so now I'm just giving away for free every vendor we do, every tracking sheet we have, how to not get screwed over, how to manage the whole thing, and doing all of that. And we're building a vendor directory so they can go to California PI, California Slip and Fall, all these different places and find the right vendors who have actual reviews from actual attorneys. And then we have this other platform that I'll tell you about another time or stick around.
That's the secret one?
It's nuts.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
So basically, you're becoming a back office referral. Is not a referral.
No,
since
I'm
you're
done.
back.
I'm done with doing referrals. I have one firm. I have a firm in Arizona. We do cases there. But I'll just tell you, we're launching this new. Here, Paul. Actually, just watch this video.
Okay. Show me.
You ready?
Absolutely huge. Oh God! If you guys don't use this, yeah.
So I'll give the 1 minute pitch before I go back into our decks and stuff. But what Disbo does is whenever you deposit a check for $100,000 in your bank account, we match it to an actual case in your software. And we say, okay, $30,000 goes to Carpenter and Zuckerman. 15,000 of that goes to Ben Miles as the referring attorney because they refer the case to Paul because they were smart. Then you add 5 doctors to that. You add $10,000 to each of them. And then you have the plaintiff. Every single dollar in the IOLTA account is matched to a recipient. So if you ever move funds around, you're moving an individual person's funds around. And so your account's always audit-ready, reconciled. And then when it comes time to disperse, there's this thing called KYC, KYB. It basically means you're 100% sure who you're dispersing to. So you text them a link. It comes from Carpenter and Zuckerman. They click that link. It says there's $5,000 waiting for you. They verify their identity. We are sure 100% that it's them. Money goes directly to them. No checks, no lost checks, no fraud, no double depositing checks. And the whole disbursement thing happens. And then I was not ready for this, Paul.
No, this is brilliant.
But then you also have a list of verified doctors. Oh, you ready for this? This is actually going to also be the first platform that not only you manage referral fees, you can actually click pay on your referral fees. So for instance, if Ben Miles refers you 100 cases, Ben has, if you guys don't litify, right?
Correct.
So in the platform, it shows the case status for Ben. So he can see it's in pre-litigation, litigation, or whatever. And then whenever it comes time to pay, you guys have a pay button. You just click pay. All documents that are necessary, you guys just click on them. It goes straight to Ben with the payment. There's no follow-up, hey, where's my check? What's going on with the case? So manage the entire referral fee process. You actually get paid on them. You have all your doctors on there. And for instance, we have Injury Institute integrated fully in here. The doctor's on here. If you click refer a patient, you can pick it from FileVine, the actual case. You can select any documents you want to send to that doctor, and it sends it directly to them. And doctors can also upload all documents directly in there, saves the whole thing. And so that's
30 employees that I just got rid of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can also refer out law firms. So we'll have Carpenter Zuckerman at the very, very top of this. They can go in here, click refer, send it to you. When you want to pay, you just click pay. The money goes directly to them. They don't have to follow up with you anymore. And then we also built that lead gen vendor directory in here. So they can come in here and just find any lead gen vendor they want. You have to have at least 4 law firms recommend you and say that they use you.
Oh. It's like Emily's list for PI lawyers.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
And so a whole bunch of different ways of not getting screwed over.
This is excellent.
Thank you.
I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
When did you get this idea?
This is fun. I got the idea the first idea I had was this fun company. Like many of you guys, I have a Robinhood account, and it was like so much fun just seeing the fucking Robinhood go up every day. And I had firms that were doing marketing for it, and so I would give a case to Ben Miles or Apex Law or these other firms, and we would spend $1,000 on that case. And back in the day, Lemon Law, you would get a case settled for $26,000, and you get a $10,000 referral fee check coming back to you. And so we started to create a company where if a law firm wants to invest like $500,000 in this, we would go and spend their money, and they'll be able to see how many cases they got on their return on investment. And then it became to so many checks going back and forth between me and an attorney, like this is horrible. So we started to create a system for dispersing payments just automatically for referral fees. And then I created my own law firm and just saw managing my IOLTA account is just crazy. Like right now, I have a bunch of money in there. Unless I go and ask my bookkeeper, like, who's this money for? I have no idea whose money it's for. And so like this is just like, it just makes total sense that an IOLTA account needs a software like everything else does. And this is the software for it.
How many people here have a client trust account? Okay. How many people here are doing reconciliation every month? Come on, guys, really? Okay, you have somebody, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But still, they have.
Okay, I mean, this. All I'm going to say is,
Yeah,
this is not that I want to get you out of business, but
Oh, you manage this.
I mean, yeah, no, we talk.
yeah, because the PI lawyer or the employment lawyer or whoever's representing clients, this is the IOLTA account is their Achilles heel. The bar hates what we do. They do not like PI lawyers. They don't like employment lawyers. They're not a fan, and they have created the trap of the trust account and the CTAP requirements and the oath under penalty of perjury, that whereas a mistake in the past could be forgiven, it's set up now that any mistake you make in the client trust account or any failure to follow what you're supposed to do is now moral turpitude, because you signed on your state bar profile now under penalty of perjury that you're going to follow all of those rules and requirements, and they're highly technical, and that's a scary thing right now. And this, what you're doing here, has just made something that is very treacherous foolproof.
Yeah. There's
It's
a lot
brilliant.
more fun stuff too that I'll show you next time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
we're very
impressive.
excited. Yeah. I think it's really, really cool. It solves a lot of problems, and we're gonna have some pretty good growth, and should be fun. That's what I do.
Okay. Now I know what you do, and now I know why I'm here, and that's fantastic.
On Awesome. So a couple of recap things. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Like that was really natural.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, that's what we're supposed
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do.
No,
We're
it's-
supposed to make it seem like it's all a big surprise. Whoa.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you do this?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
No,
impressive.
I learned a lot about you today too.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot, especially before everyone came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Open book.
Awesome. Well, a couple of things. One is the CZ1 cards. I'm gonna here because it's all awkward and stuff now. Let's just do it now. There's this QR code. Okay. So scan this QR code if you guys want to get a couple of things from me right now. One is we're gonna give out the CZ1 cards. I'm gonna post a link in there so you guys can just sign up for one of these, and then John from the team is gonna approve everyone on there. And then the second thing I'm gonna send out in there is Paul's direct cell phone number.
Yep.
Paul's direct cell phone number. When I talked to all my friends about why don't you refer Paul a case, a few people actually in this audience here, they had a crazy case. I don't know Paul. Is Paul busy? Is Paul available? Paul takes your call. I mean, like, should we make it more awkward?
Yeah,
Jacob,
maybe.
can you stand up? Jacob, a Disbo client and Paul client. You had a case and you refer it to, how'd that whole Paul interaction go?
It was very smooth. I had a case, it was some call case. I normally like to litigate personal injury cases, so I was like, I'll just file on it. And then I'm like, fuck this. And then I was speaking to Nathan and then Paul, and then we kind of talked a little bit, and then Nathan put me in a group chat with him. I texted him, he called me like 5 minutes after. He's like, yeah, fuck the defense counsel. And said he knew him, I felt comfortable with him, I knew I could trust him with the case. I spoke to the client a little bit, we went over CZ, I told them what they do, how good they are, and then I kind of spoke to Paul a little bit more, told him I'm going to give him the case, and he's been handling it ever since.
How
Yeah.
was
Go ahead.
how was the conversation? Remember you came to me like, bro, Paul's a fucking G. Paul said, fuck this guy.
Mark Trackman, yeah. Fuck him. Loser.
It was very good. I mean, I gave him background. He said, who's the defense counsel? I told him, this is the defense counsel. I let him know, like, he's trying to dick me around, and he was trying to play games with me on the phone, trying to say, like, don't work this out. This isn't the case you think it is. I kind of told him, I was like, listen, I've worked at bigger firms. I've worked at Marty's area, and I've worked at Drake. I have other firms that are willing to take the case. And he was like, he didn't really believe me or didn't think I was going to refer it out or do it because he thought I just wanted a quick buck. But the client is really injured, so I'm like, I'm not going to just listen to what he has to say. So then I called Paul, and he literally called within 5 minutes of me texting him. Gave me a full rundown of this defense counsel and how he's dealt with him over the years and how he's settled tons of cases against him. And, you know, he really made me feel comfortable with him because I have a really good relationship with this client. She was actually my second client I ever signed up, and she really trusts me, and she was like, whatever you think is what I'll do, and she's really been there to trust me, so I really wanted to give it to someone I trust, and then speaking with him, I really was like, this is the right person for the case.
So if this isn't working, I'll fix it somehow.
Right.
But Paul's extremely available, and so I'm gonna give you guys his phone number, the contact information. Also, there's a link for one-on-ones, right? And also, you're at that one breakfast spot like 3 times a week.
I'm generally at Great White on Melrose. You know where that is? And I get there pretty much every morning at about 8:10, and I'm there till about 9. And lots of people come by, either lawyers to talk to me or car people or whatever. And you're welcome. You'll see me sitting in there, and you're welcome to come in. And you got a problem with a case, you got a problem with anything, you come in there and talk to me. And then we have a whole crew. As you know, Jake, you ended up talking to Ben Berkeley.
Yeah.
Right, and Berkeley, Ben handles pretty much a lot of, the supermarket cases. So he was able to, so I had my intake team get the 151, we got all that paperwork done. And now Berkeley and his guys are on the case and handling the meet and confer issues. So there's a lot of expertise throughout the office and people that I will make sure that you're introduced. And you can always call me, you can always hit Berkeley, wherever. And if anybody you need documents or you need work product or a sample letter, the best thing to do is hit me at my email. And you'll say, I need a sample demand letter, I need whatever. And I just make sure whoever in the office has it is going to get it to you. So that's I just want to arm everybody to be as effective as possible. You. This is brilliant.
Thank you.
This is really brilliant.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to talk about lead gen agency and stuff like that. Paul, you're more than welcome to hang out up here. I'd love to shoot the shit with you, or you can do whatever you want.
Is the taco guy still out there?
I told him to leave tacos outside somewhere. There might still be tacos somewhere, but if
I'm
not,
going to get one taco, and then I'm going to. You keep talking. You do whatever you want, and then I'll be back.
if you guys want, we'll take a quick break, grab a drink, grab something. I'll leave this QR code. So I gave a lead gen agency $1 million, and they didn't get a single case in return. This is not a fucking joke. It's very serious, and it sucks really, really bad, but it led to a lot of good stuff after. We're going to get it back, hopefully. They showed me all the logos on the website. They said we work with all these top firms, all these different things. They said we have this secret method of getting cases that no one's done before. We're going to target people like this. We're going to do all these different things. And it was towards December. I wanted to pay myself before the new year. Great. Me and a few other firms deposited the cash. A few months goes by. We don't get a single case.
A single what?
Single fucking case.
There you go.
We're like, what happened? They're like, we're going to get you the case. Campaign takes a long time. 6 months goes by, no case still. Me and the other firms are tripping out. We do high volume cases, like what's going on here? We end up finding out pretty much it's just crazy. I still don't understand it. We go to their office and there's like 60 staff. PK was with me. We're blown the fuck away and whatever happened. But there's 3 things you guys should have in your contracts before you sign up with a lead gen agency. Make sure you guys actually have this. Take pictures of this stuff. I have a lot of slides, like 30. You might just want to take pictures of all of them and use them. And
Can you send it to us?
take a picture, and then I will. The 3 things you should have in there, number 1 is attorney fee provision. So if you do want to sue them, you can actually also claim attorney fees, and they also have to get their own attorneys, and they're going to be way less likely to go into litigation and try to resolve this with you. Number 2 is you want to have a refund clause in there and outlined correctly about what it means to get a refund after how long. And number 3, call their clients. Not one client. The client can't be there for 1 month. Client has to be there for at least 6 months before you sign up with them or give them a big deposit. Cool? Now, why even run ads? Paul's built a great firm with referrals and different things like that. The firms that I work with are the ones that Paul doesn't like so much, the big volume billboard guys. But if you're gonna run ads, this is what I would do. And I would take out a loan tomorrow for however much I could, and I would put it into ads, especially now with some of the laws changing, and you wanna get as many cases as you can earlier than later. No impact on me, it's just my advice I'd give to my friends. Half of my friends here just start their own firms. And so it's a proven method of getting cases. This first one doesn't apply to too many people here. The first way of getting cases everyone's familiar with is Google. There's 3 ways of getting cases with Google. The first one you guys may not have heard of as much as the other ones. The first one is on Google, you have this thing called Google Quality Score. And if I run an ad, if someone who just started their firm last week runs a Google ad, their score is going to be way lower than Paul Zuckerman, who's been practicing for X number of years. And so Google gives their cost per lead at a much cheaper price. So if you're spending $100,000 a month, Paul's going to get an extra 20 to 25% of cases than I will. And this is just a lot of people don't know this. And you can actually rank your own Google Quality Score. You go to Google Ads Manager. You can actually get your own Google Quality Score and make sure your cost of lead comes down if you're running Google Ads. AEO is this new thing that they're doing, which is your AI search results. And there's a lot of tools out there you can find that gives you your score. But really what this looks for is when people go to AI to search, they search in questions. This or that. So whenever you're putting up your pages on your website, you want it to be like a 500 FAQ section of questions they actually have. And you want to try to get people to talk about it. A good strategy of this is YouTube. Talk about it on YouTube, post it on YouTube, have it transcribed, link it to your website, and then it starts to build some credibility. We're not going to do a whole session on this, but this stuff exists. Take a picture, put it into Claude, put it into Claude Co-work, it'll even do it for you. I have this tool called Replit. It's this cracked out web design AI tool. The one trick I'll tell you about Replit, this could be like a 6-hour session, but if you go to Replit and you tell it, I want to build a SEO heavy website that also ranks for my Google Quality Score and AEO and all these different things, and you tell it to index, and we'll send you the transcription of this. You can put it in there. I'll do it for you. It'll actually build you a very, very nice website. You can do it in one night, and it's the same cost of getting a $4,000 or $5,000 website that looks horrible. And so this is a very, very, very good tool for that. Okay. Lead gen and lead gen vendors. If you guys want to slow me down, please do. But lead gen and lead gen vendors, there's 3 types. You have the pay-per-lead people, you have the management fee people, and then you have the signed cases people. When it comes to pay-per-lead, this is like your 4 legal leads and Avo, and you're basically, they're like the Amazon of reselling leads. And someone's already cherry-picked the best ones. But if you're a small firm, you're able to manage this correctly, you get a lot of cases for reasonable cost, but you're not getting any home runs. We'll go to the third one, which is buying signed cases. Who here, this is their favorite model? Just give me signed cases. I don't want to do intake. I don't want to do these different things. No? Okay, great. But the buying signed cases is good if you're a top firm. And if you have a really good relationship with those people. Because I myself who refer out cases or would used to do it, we want to give our cases to the best firm because they're going to give us the best results, and it's just unfortunately how it works. So if you're going to do this and you're buying from someone that gives you signed cases, you need to have the right relationship with them. And you need to make sure that they actually value you and you can get the right cases from them. My favorite out of the 3 is the middle one, the management fees. Management fee is my favorite one because usually you pay them $3,500 a month or $2,500 a month, and they send you the leads directly. There's no middleman, they're not filtering it, so you get the raw leads, and you're gonna have a lot of shitty leads. Like pay per lead, they're filtering a little bit. Per case, they're filtering it. Whenever you're doing the management fee ones, there's no filter. So you get the shitty ones, you get the good ones, and so you just have to build a really good intake team to manage this, and that's a whole nother session that one day maybe we'll do. Any questions? Very good. Morgan & Morgan. So a firm like Morgan & Morgan, they have 700 plus ads running at any time. And this is actually really cool, and this is what a lot of people don't know. This is, if you're gonna run ads, this is like the single most important thing to know. Any of these lead vendors, they pay $3,500 a month to. If they're good, I have some friends who say my cousin's aunt's brother runs these amazing campaigns, and they're gonna generate PI cases. They come back 3 months later, down $60,000, and they've never done it. If you're gonna sign up with a lead vendor, they have to have spent more than $1 million or more on personal injury so they actually know what they're doing. And the way you can know if they know what they're doing is how many ads and how many ad campaigns do they set up for you? Like, if I'm running a campaign for myself, I'm gonna run the first 10 seconds 30 times. So if my goal is to say, have you been injured in a car accident? We've settled more than $1 billion. The first 10 seconds of that ad, I'm gonna run it 5 different times. I'm gonna be wearing a white shirt, I'm gonna have a pretty girl, I'm gonna have a guy, I'm gonna be coming out of my car, and all these different things really impact the ad. And so if somebody goes in there and just puts up 1 or 2 ads, it's not gonna work. And so why I bring up Morgan & Morgan? Whenever you're working with these actual legit lead vendors, they have 20, 30 ads up. Some of them are like a sticky note that says car accident ? And some of them is an actual AI car accident or different things like that. Your job as a consumer who's receiving these leads is to give same-day feedback on that individual ad. Because you're spending money on every single one of these ads. You're spending $500 here that day, you're spending $300 here that day, and the quicker you tell them that you're getting workers' comp leads or you're getting elder abuse leads or you're not getting PI leads, the quicker they turn off that ad campaign and they put the ad campaign towards other ads that are working. And so your goal is to make sure you give feedback every single hour to these vendors so they give you guys the right leads that you guys want coming in. And the best way of doing that, most of you guys know this, but most of my whole life was just working with overseas staff. I would just get an insane Philippines-based employee for like $1,500 a month, or if you go to an agency like LegalSoft or something like that, you pay $2,000 or $2,300 a month. But you get an amazing staff who cares about the leads just as much as you do. In the Philippines, if you give them $25 bonus for every signed client or anything like that, they go over the moon. So you want to get an overseas staff that tracks every single lead that comes in. Anytime it's a trucking case or anytime it's a commercial policy case, you give that virtual staff $150. Their goal is to manage every single lead that comes in and make sure it converts, listen to every single call, and text you anytime there's a problem. Hey, Paul, we just had a case that went to a different law firm, but it was a serious commercial case. John was handling it, and I don't think he did a good job at it. Can I connect you with them? And so that's what I'll use for the virtual staff. Any questions on that part? Cool. Everyone's following. Okay. So that was on the lead gen and lead gen vendor side of things. Next comes the reporting side of it. How many of you guys have reports like this right now for your law firm? You guys can't really see it. So essentially what this shows is, this is what most of you guys will have, but this shows how much money you spent that month and how many cases you got and your cost of clients and how many intakes you got done and just your conversion rates from every single dollar that you've spent. This is like the first and like the most basic report that you should have and the easiest report to make. How many, if you have a spreadsheet or whatever, it automatically does this for you. If you scan that QR code link, PK runs this right now for us. He has the templates that we can send to you guys. You just upload your leads to it. It connects to Lead Docket or whatever software it is, and it'll generate these reports for you. But at the very least, you want to see how many leads you got, how many intakes were converted, and how many signed clients you got. And on a monthly basis, so you can say, hey, last month we converted 15%, this month we converted 10%, what happened? And I'm in some of these meetings with these firms that have 300 plus staff, and they know every single month they sign a trucking case or commercial policy case. And if they didn't that month, something went wrong. And everyone thinks that person is crazy for doing that, and they go until they drill, until they find out what it is. And they did find out that people in the intake staff are stealing cases. Mm-hmm. And they're losing out on millions of dollars, especially in the higher volume practices. So the numbers don't lie. When there's smoke, there's fire. And if you always get a certain conversion rate, always get a certain number, intake is messing up, something is going wrong, and you don't have to kill the person. Just go on a walk with them, give them a coffee, and just say, hey, what's going on? They get motivated again, and they start managing it better. But this is one that you guys should have the very, very, very bare minimum. You want to tell all your vendors what cases you signed up the same day. I signed up a client. Tell a vendor, I signed up a client. This was the client name. They go to that ad campaign and that ad set, and they say, okay, great. This one we know isn't giving us workers' comp leads. And they increase the budget on that one, and it's not equally dispersed. Things like that help you get way more cases, especially if you're doing it in a major volume. At the end of every single month, we kind of treat lead vendors like a stock market. And so at the end of every single month, you have all the lead sources on the left, you have your total spend, you have a total number of leads, and then you have your cost of client acquisition, and you have your cost per lead. And so these two are important. Sometimes your cost of lead goes up, but your case quality skyrockets, and so it's okay, so you can play with that. And also your cost of client acquisition, you want to manage it and say, hey, look, if we're generating normal cases, okay, great. Let it be $1,500, $2,000. If we're generating trucking cases, let it be $8,000. And then the lead source that's giving you those at the best prices, you turn them on and turn them off. One of the most important things for like extremely fast-growing law firms is not always to go and find more vendors, but if you have a vendor that's working, you're getting cases right now for less than like $4,000 a month, get as many as you can. A year ago, it was like $3,000, but it keeps going up. But right now, it's like $4,000 for a signed, decent case. Feel free to grow that. You don't always have to get more vendors. And if it's working and you're getting a case at $2,000, invest in it. Maximize as much as possible, because in 60 days, it's going to fall over, and you're going to hate that person that was giving you cases, because last month it was so good. Put your virtual team on every lead. We kind of talked about this. Okay, these are some things that most of you guys should already have in place, so I don't go into too much. After hours call service, just have it in place, pay per minute. You should have that. With your intake team, I would change your intake team's phone number to just $, $, or whatever motivates you. When they call you, pick up the phone, answer the call, do that intake. And then local services ad on Google, that's free money. So if you can just put as much money as you can into Google local services to get those cases. Everyone's doing okay? So this again, is similar to the first one, but one thing that we're tracking here is our drop rate. I had a lead vendor once that was giving us signed up homeless people, and we ended up dropping like, we're paying per case. And so we're getting case like $3,000, crazy car accidents. And then we find out like 3, 4, 5 months later, we can never get the driver's license, the person goes MIA, and so we were just getting screwed. And so one thing you also want to track is your drop rate. And we also call that your rolling client acquisition cost. For other practice types, other than PI, it's even more important because if you sign up clients at $3,000, but then you drop 25% of your clients, your cost of client goes up. And if you're not a volume firm, that's a lot of your profits. In volume, you can spend $7,000 to get a client because you're getting one trucking case a month or whatever it is to even it out. So you want to make sure your lead sources are giving you real leads and you're not just getting everything dropped. Something happened. This one I'll send you guys. Won't go into too much detail about this one. But this is an extremely in-depth tracking sheet for your leads. And so like once you get to a certain level and you have enough leads coming in, the smallest changes and the smallest percentage of changes has a huge impact on your practice. So for instance here, we're tracking this every single month. So below January, you have every single month under it. And here you're tracking per lead source, which is on the right-hand side in the red, what the entire conversion rate was, and how many cases we got signed up. And on month end, this is the report that we want to go over. And again, we'll give you guys a link to this one. You guys can create it yourself. And PK can also help. Last two. When it comes to your intake team, the one question I always get is how much did you pay your intake staff? I have firms who go like, don't give it to intake because I don't want to pay them the bonus. I'll sign it up myself or whatever. If that's the case, then you're paying them too much. But you want to pay them the most you're willing to pay where you feel comfortable giving it to them. And you want to just incent. This is like the most important role. You want this person to love you, care about your leads as much as possible. So if you have overseas intake staff, I would give them $100 per sign up and make it like a tiered structure. It's like if you get 10 signups, $100 per case. If you get 5 signups, it's like $25 per case. So incentivize to hit the 10. If you get a commercial policy case or you get this other case, we're going to give you $200, $300, $400 because it comes in so randomly. But with that, it keeps them alert on every single lead that comes in, hoping that's that one case. Even if you give them $500 per case that comes in for those more serious ones. And then this is also good. Underperformers, you want to get rid of them. Manage them every single day, every single month, end of the month. Ones that are not converting as much as other people, get rid of the underperformers. And then, who are the right vendors? So we're going to send this link out there. We have a list of 200 vendors that we're going through. We're setting up a meeting with every single vendor. They're coming on there with 3 to 4 attorneys that are actually recommending them. But we're actually going to fully build this out. PK is going to be leading this initiative of adding all the vendors on there, the practice types, what they're good at, how much they cost. So you can go in there and select the vendor that you want, read all about them, schedule a call, and you can pay them directly on there too because they're on Disbo. What I will say though is with these vendors, I can give the same vendor to Paul and Topher. They're on the same street. One, for Paul, it might be a $2,000 client acquisition cost. For Topher, it might be a $4,000 acquisition cost. With a vendor, it's really important how you work with them, how you manage the campaign, how you manage all the leads that are coming in. Sometimes it's their fault, sometimes it's your fault. But the same way you manage your stock portfolio, if it's not doing well, just lower the ad spend. Instead of spending Paul will be spending $40,000 there, Topher will be spending $10,000. Next month, Topher starts picking up cases, he'll increase his ad spend. So if you find a good vendor, build a relationship. If you know they're good, if they know they can give someone else a bunch of cases, just figure out what it is. Tell them, this is one thing that really helps as well too. Tell them to just reset all the ads. Because they use different ads for Paul and they use different ads for Topher, especially with the new laws that just recently changed. So you can tell them just change all the ads. But it's good to build a relationship with these people, not just keep firing them if they're good. If they're fraudulent, then fuck them. And the last thing I'll say, this is pretty much the last thing on here. The last thing I'll say is your lead vendors, the people who are giving you the leads and the account executive that you work with, send them a bottle of whatever they want. Send them a bottle of Blue Label, send them a bottle of tequila. I gave this one vendor of mine that I've been working with for a little bit, like after we got our first case, sent him a bottle of Blue Label. He called me like, yo, what is this? Why'd you do this? And he has accounts spending millions of dollars a month with him. He's like, no one's ever sent me anything. And now every time I call him, he refunds me stuff, he credits me stuff, he looks over my ad campaigns, and he treats me better than anyone else because I gave this guy a bottle of Blue Label. And so, and this to go back to Paul's initial point, anytime you meet anyone or do anything with them, start with massive appreciation. Don't assume they're gonna scam you. Say thank you, say we're gonna work with you, or different things like that. The vendors that you have on this list here, I have personal relationships with them. I've also lost money on some months with them, but overall, we made money and know they actually generate cases. I have no problem with time allowing it to talk to you guys about any of the vendors that you guys want to work with, tell you about them. The only one I haven't worked with here is Liberty Legal Network. Seems like a sick ass guy. And he told me he generates almost 7,000 signed MBA cases a month in different states and different things like that. Really interesting program. I haven't actually tested him yet. But the rest of them I've worked with pretty intensely. I'm going to start with Liberty Network. I'll let you guys know how that goes. You have WellRush. Have you guys heard of these names? Yeah. WellRush is good. Management Fee, Law Pro Nation, Cases on Demand, Case Connect, 4 Legal Leads, and we have a few more that are also going to be slowly adding to this thing. But the goal is to be able to go on the platform, click on any state you want, click on the lead vendors, see all the results, and basically you'll have it all in there. And that's pretty much it.
Fantastic. Very great. Very impressive.
I went really quick. Hopefully that all was digestible. Yeah, if you guys make any really good money, please let me know. So thank you guys for coming. We'll probably do some more of these eventually one day.
You're always welcome.
Thank you.
Always.
Thank you, Paul, for hosting and getting everything and buying everything.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. You're good.
That was good, huh?
Fantastic. Really. You're really good at this.
Thank you.
Especially.
It's our first one.
Yeah. We're going to get better.
Yeah.